Okay guys, it's finally time for the story time y'all been waiting for. So basically I was talking to this girl last summer through September, and then one day she randomly ended things with me and decided that she didn't want to do it anymore. Keep in mind, I drove to this girl's house multiple times. I'm the only one who actually tried to put effort in and wanted to be with her, and then she just couldn't be with me. Next month, she texts my friend and she's like, "Tell Kaylee I miss her." Then we didn't talk after that, and then the next month she calls me and she's like, "Unblock me on everything." I unblock her. The next month, the day before my birthday, she texts me and she's like, "Lock in, like I want to be with you and make things work." At the time I liked someone and I told her that, but me and this person weren't like talking or like making anything exclusive yet. And I end up ending things with him because there was just multiple factors to it. Like I just no longer felt like it was right for me. And so I start talking to her. We start texting back and forth. We never made anything exclusive, like we never confirmed if we were talking to other people or anything. We did sit there and say that we wanted to make it work, but we had to see each other before anything happened. And at the time, honestly, I was talking to this other girl because we had known each other for like over a year, and we just talked all the time. Like for some reason we could never leave each other alone. But me and this girl agreed that like we could never be anything more because she lived so far and it would just never work. And I'm gonna be real, like I did like her a lot. Like I liked her for a really long time, but I knew like nothing could ever come out of it, so we were just in contact. And so basically one day I cut this girl off because I actually wanted to start taking this girl serious, and then she finds out it's because I wanted to take her serious and text the girl, and she's like, she's been texting me this whole time, and she texts back and she's like, "I already knew that. We weren't locked in or anything, so it doesn't really matter to me." But then she tells me that she needs time to get over it, and then like a week later she starts texting me nonstop like everything's fine, like she got over the situation. Randomly, she leaves me undelivered for 21 hours, and I text her. I was like, "So I guess you're good on this?" And she was like, "Drunk, talk to you tomorrow." Excuse you? What do you mean no? And so basically the next day I end up unadding her because I'm not about to be the one to sit around and wait for you to text me back. And then like a week later she texts me and she's like, "Come see me." I had already looked at her accounts and she had been reposting this one girl. I am not the type of bitch to be mad at the new girlfriend. I'm not the bitch to talk shit about someone I don't even know. This girl's beautiful, but I knew she wasn't a random because she went to her school. And so I text her and I ask her, I'm like, "So who is this that you're reposting?" And she sits there and she tells me that she's a random and that she wants to be with me. I dig a little deeper and then I find out that they've flirted, and she's like, "Well, we've hung out and we flirted, but it's nothing more than that." And I hang up and I agree to come see her, and I tell her that if she hangs out with her, then tell me because then I'm not gonna come. I dig a little deeper and find out that they actually dated. And mind you, on the phone I'm sitting here telling her that she's the last person I wanted to be with and take serious, and she tells me the same. So I find all these TikToks of photo dumps with her in it saying that they were literally dating. And so I text her, I'm like, "Yeah, I'm not doing this. If you want to be with her and you genuinely like her, then stop texting me, because I am not about to be the person to home wreck or get in the way of someone else's relationship." So then I text her and I ask her when they stopped talking, and she was like, "We weren't texting whenever me and you were texting. We just started talking as soon as we ended things." And so basically I hang up the phone and I said, I'm ready to be mature with someone and be with someone who can actually communicate with me how they feel. And whenever it's over for you two, I'm not going to be here like this is the last time. If you fuck with this girl, if you genuinely like this girl, then I want you to be with her, because I am not going to be a second option or someone to fall back on when things don't work out for you. And then she goes, "Okay, don't let it be the last time. I seriously fuck with you, but I just have some growing up to do." And so basically I said, I'm not going to sit around and wait for you to grow up. If you see a problem now, then fix it. You're going to keep going in the same cycle if you don't want to change. I have wasted so much energy trying to be what you want, but you will never be satisfied because you are not happy within yourself and you are not fulfilled within yourself. The moment that you take someone back is the moment that they realize they can do whatever they want. They can just keep coming, walking in and out of your life because you have allowed them to before. So basically, after I told her I was done, she blocked me. A couple days later, she posted TikTok and she's dating the girl again. She is dating the girl. So I post a rant and the girl texts me, she adds me on Snapchat, her girlfriend, and she asks me about everything and I tell her everything. I send her all the screenshots, I gave her timelines of when we were talking. She was texting her the entire time. So honestly, very, very honestly, I don't care that I was talking to multiple people at the same time. I don't care. Karma comes back to you. And if it really was wrong of me, then I'll get my karma for it. But I don't see a problem, honestly. And then I found out from another one of her exes, she has been texting her too. She has been telling all three of us the exact same thing for months. This girl came and saw her 3 days before I came to her house. She was telling her that I wasn't shit to her and that I was just for fun and like she was just bored. And then after she saw my TikTok, she calls me like 10 times on no caller ID and she's like, why did you make a story time, blah, blah, blah. You wanted a story time so bad, then you finally got one, and here you go. Like, you asked me so many times for a story time. If you don't want people to know about the shitty things you do, don't do them. And then she goes, yeah, if you don't want people to know about the shitty things you do, then don't do. The fact is, I own up to the shitty things that I did. I know who I am. I am secure in the things that I've done and do. I know how to own up to the fact that I did wrong, and you can't. That is the difference between me and you. And so she kept calling me and she was telling me that she was already planning on blocking me, and like when she texted me, she was just trolling. So why text me in the first place? If you were just trolling and you were texting me, come see me, what was the point? If you were already planning on blocking me and being with this girl, or are you just saying that now because I ended it and now you're caught? And literally every single time this girl came back into my life, I would sit there and I would try to hold her hand and I'd be like, no, like, it's okay. Like, you're just going through a lot. Like, you've just been through a lot. So you can treat me like this because you're not a shitty person. You've just been through shitty things. I have been through shitty things and I don't do that. And it took me so long to realize that, and I have secondhand embarrassment for myself and for her. And once I've cut these people out of my life, these people that did shitty things to me and then made me feel crazy because I felt some type of way, and then they downplayed me to the point where I felt like I was doing something wrong. When people realize that they can walk in and out of your life, they're going to downplay you little by little, and they're going to treat you like their own puppet because they know that they can manipulate you and come back into your life whenever they please. Even with the other girl, she was talking to other people the whole time. She made me feel like shit about myself every single day. She would argue with me every single day. You cannot keep going in the same cycles and expect a better outcome, honestly. I feel so much better cutting these people out of my life because I finally feel like I've found myself and I feel secure in myself. What these people like to do is belittle you over and over and over again so you feel like you cannot live without them. I want you to know you can live without them. Sorry this turned into like motivational like speech therapy, but that's my story time. I probably missed like a lot, honestly. Like, love you guys.
Stupid things I did as a teenager so you don't have to. I repeat, do not do these things. I'm looking at you. I will come after you. I was a sophomore in high school. There was this one cafe that like all the cool kids would go to. At the time, not only had I just transferred schools, but I was also a sophomore in high school. So I was like, you know, I want to make friends. I want to be cool. I was hanging out with this one girl named Kennedy. Kennedy, if you're out there, I hope you're doing amazing. Just hanging out, you know, doing our homework. And then all of a sudden, this cute barista boy comes over and he's like chatting us up. In my 16-year-old mind, I'm thinking, oh, he's probably like around the same age as us. He was at the same age as us. It was like a little rom-com, okay? We were shooting looks across the room. I was like, okay, I think he's kind of feeling me. I even made this Instagram post with this caption. While the guy and I were chatting, I was like, oh yeah, I'm also a barista. Like, I work here. Lesson number 1, never give your information to a man you don't know. I don't care if he's close to your age or not. If you don't know him, do not be telling him where you work, where you sleep, where you eat. From this point onward, for like the next week, my girl Kennedy picks me up in the morning to go to school and she's like, do you want some coffee? Every morning, we go to this cafe and we get coffee just for the chance that I can see this guy. Girl, stand up, have some self-respect. Remember how I told you I told this man where I work? Lo and behold, a week goes by and guess who strolls through the front door whenever I'm working as a little barista? A part of me is like gagged, like, okay, cute, like he came to visit me. And then a part of me is like, Why are you at my work? Eventually, after like he gets a drink or whatever at the coffee shop, he's like sitting in the corner and then he orders me a drink. I think I might have actually like gone to the back or something. And then I walk out, my friend Adelaide, who also worked at the coffee shop, she was like, he asked for your schedule and like obviously I didn't give it to him. And then my friend I was working with goes, hey babe, you know he's like 22. I'm 23, but for a 16-year-old, 22 is like 30. 16-year-old's eyes, you're a grown man. Like this has become now weird. Realized up until this point, I had given him information about myself, where I went to school, oh, I just moved here, yeah, I work here. He had not given me a lick of information about him. Long story short, my parents stepped in after they heard about this. Basically knocked some sense into me, like, girl, what are you doing? Do not be giving out personal information, like where the house is your mama pays for, and where you work, and where you go to school. Anyways, long story short, that could have ended so badly for me, and who knows what that man wanted. Please do not do anything like this, and if you're currently doing something like this, stop. Bye, babies.
Y'all, when y'all get to the DMV, don't just be expecting to have those like 3 main documents that you need, you know, like your birth certificate, maybe even your social security, like your insurance. I'm not really sure, or I don't remember what all you have to have. You would actually be completely wrong if you thought that that was all the documents that you needed. You actually need a document of your body count. You'll need a document of your friend's body count. You'll also need to memorize the Declaration of Independence. You'll need to be able to spell and name every state that there is. I don't know why they do it that way. I surely don't make the rules, but the DMV is probably the hardest place to get anything from, like, in your entire life. Or when I went to go get my learner's permit and I had every single document in the book. I had every single document just in case I didn't bring enough. I brought extra. I brought every single piece of mail that had my name on it since I was 2. I get there and I'm walking up to the lady and I was with my grandpa. She was mean. She was not nice. She was not nice at all. Like, don't get me wrong. I get it. I do not want to do that as a job, and I could just imagine how they feel. It was like, okay, so you have every document here. Everything's all good. Is this your parent or legal guardian? I was like, yep, this is my grandpa. I had every single document, mind you. She said, we're gonna need paperwork that he's your guardian, or we're gonna need a note from your mom. I just now brought you the Constitution, and you're sitting here saying, we're gonna need one single note from your mom. Though you have a guardian right here, we need the note from your mom now. She was like, I don't know if your mom works far. Is there any way that you could go get a note from her? Like, does she work close? And I literally was like, well, I looked at her and I looked at my grandpa. I was like, well, I'll be back. So you bet your bottom freaking dollar. You bet your bottom dollar. I drove right down to Ingles. Me and my grandpa drove right to Ingles, and I wrote my own note because there is no way I'm going all the way to my mom's job that's like 40 minutes away just to get a note saying that I can get my permit. Y'all be miserable. Y'all be so miserable. Like, y'all do anything. Y'all be so miserable. Like, I honestly can't even believe that I'm putting this story out there, but when I went to go take my driving test was even more embarrassing. Like, I was so embarrassed, and let me tell you, I walked in there, she took me in, she said, okay, like, just like, let's test your signals, your right signal, your left signal, like your brights, like your brake lights. We tested all that. We get in the car and I have to like reverse, okay? Mind you, I have never reversed without using a backup camera, and I refuse to ever get a car without a backup camera. Why? I'm telling you right now, I would wreck into everybody's car. And she was like the only lady that worked at the DMV. My whole heart goes out to DMV workers because I understand what it's like. And there's like a shortage in DMV workers, I think, because no one like really wants to work as a DMV worker. And then we started like reversing, like, you know, just the regular backup reverse. And mind you, I have never backed up without a backup camera. Like, that's my bad, okay? Like, it's my bad. Started backing up and it was horrible. She said, we're gonna try this one more time. So I do it again and I do it spot on. I do it perfectly. Like, I reverse so perfectly. We get back to the DMV, we get out of the car, and she's like, she looks at my mom, she says, Mom, how do you think she did? Just like that. I was like, I just now drove an hour to take this test. Like, please, like, I just need a pass. And, you know, my mom was like, oh, like, she does pretty good. Like, she drives pretty good. Like, she was like, yeah, like, she's not a bad driver. The woman was like, well, in that car she was. Ooh. Now, I love my DMV workers, but don't make me swing on you, ho. Don't make me do it. And I was so embarrassed. I was so embarrassed sitting there. And then after that, she was just kind of like, well, You were supposed to fail today, but I'll pass you. I said, thank you. But now, do they just be giving, like, driver's license to anybody that walks in there? Because if she told me straight up that I was supposed to fail and then gave me my license, what does that say? Like, I feel like I couldn't even flex to my friends and be like, hey, like, I got my license. Like, hey, I was supposed to fail my test. Let's get it. Don't ever embarrass me like that again. But, I got my license or whatever, something slight, and that is my DMV experience. And that, my friends, is all I had to say.
Hey guys, get ready with me while I tell you a story time about how my two best friends humiliated me in front of my crush. Okay, so all of this happened in year 7. So basically, I had a crush on this guy and we'll call him Jason. As per usual, I told my two best friends about him and I would let them know every time when we talked, when we texted, all of that. I was like madly in love with the guy, but I didn't think he felt the same, to be honest. Okay, let's call the two best friends at the time Haley and Jamie. One night on a Friday, me, Haley and Jamie had a sleepover at Haley's house. We watched a movie, we ate sweets, it was fun. But something felt like really off, like I was just like left out. It was like a trio kind of vibe where they left me all alone. Something like just didn't feel right, Trust the process of the makeup, but it just felt like they were hiding something from me. So in order to clear things, I went to the bathroom and I left my phone on the floor with like a voice recorder. And when I stopped recording, I thought I would listen to it like afterwards because they were obviously there. After like 30 minutes, they said that we should call the group chat, which was me, Haley, Jamie, Jason, David and Simon. So we did call and I didn't think anything of it, but they were saying stuff like, trying to humiliate me, saying like, do you remember last month when you farted at dinner? And I was like, bro, like what? Trying to like deny it and everything. They even showed like mugs of me. And obviously my crush saw and they were all laughing in my face. After that, I decided to call my mum and go home because I felt so uncomfortable and I didn't understand why my friends were doing this to me. So when I came home, it was quite late, so I just fell asleep, and then the next morning I remembered I had the voice notes. And they basically said that they were going to humiliate me until, like, he really doesn't like me. And they thought I was too delusional for him to like me back. I was so mad at them, and I decided to confront them in school, so, like, other people could see, and I just couldn't do it over text. I just wanted to confront. So in school, I took them to the bathrooms, and I showed them the recording, and they were like, that's, like, invading our privacy, it's fucked up. After that, I knew they were like pissed at me, so I just told Jason that I liked him. And he didn't react because we were like friends. After that happened, obviously it was embarrassing at this point, like I was in the group chat for no reason. So I left the group chat and I blocked them both, and that's really what happened. Since then, I don't talk to them. In my Get Ready With Me next, if you guys want me to tell your story, make sure you message me on Instagram or on TikTok. But yeah, that's the finished result. Hope you guys enjoyed. Bye.
Hey guys, so let's get ready for school while I tell you guys the update on me finding out that a friend was talking bad about me behind my back. So I'm gonna tell you guys the backstory on how I found out. So one of my friends comes downstairs and she's like, ooh girl, somebody's been talking shit about you. And I'm like, girl, what? And she's like, yeah. And I ask her, I'm like, who? And she's like, she says the girl's name. And I'm thinking like, ain't no way she talking about this girl because me and her are cool. And I was like, this one? And she was like, yeah. And I was like, girl, what? Like, I thought me and her were friends. So I'm asking her, I'm like, wait, like, what did she say about me? And she was talking about how, like, oh, like, you need makeup and, like, you look ugly without makeup and blah, blah, blah. She was, like, calling you a jump scare, like, all this other stuff. And I'm like, wait, like, how did you hear this? And she's like, oh, her best friend told me, but they stopped being cool. So I was like, interesting. So I text her best friend and I'm like, why am I hearing that blank is talking shit about me? And she was like, because she was like, she said this and that about you. Like when they had went on a trip for state, she had seen like a TikTok of you with no makeup on that you had posted, and she was like, damn, like she looks like a jump scare, blah, 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 like she looks ugly, all this other stuff, like she needs that makeup, and basically just trash talking me like when I'm not even there. So I found this out 2 days ago when I posted that TikTok. So yesterday comes and I have class with her. So after class, I'm like walking behind her upstairs and I'm like, what class do you have? And she was like, oh, like I'm an aide right now, so like I don't really have like a class. And I was like, okay, well, like, can I talk to you? And she was like, yeah. And I was like, oh, like, do you want to go like somewhere where we can talk? She was like, oh, we can talk right here. Okay. And, like, keep in mind, this is during passing period, so that's why I was like, oh, like, do you want to go somewhere to talk? Because I didn't want to like cause a scene when there's hella people walking around. So I was like, do you want to go somewhere and talk? And she was like, oh, we could talk right here. And I was like, all right, bet. So I'm like, okay, so why am I hearing that you're talking shit about me? And she was like, what? And I was like, why am I hearing that you're talking shit about me? She was like, I wasn't talking shit about you. And I was like, girl, I could tell you what you said word for word. And she was like, okay, like, what did I say? And I was like, you said I was ugly without makeup, like XYZ, blah, blah, blah. She goes, no, like, I never said that. Like, that wasn't me. Like, I never said anything like that about you. It was like, is blank the one telling you this? Because me and her are not friends no more. Like, we're not in a good spot. And I was like, yeah, I know. And I was like, but did you say that? And she was like, no, like, I would never say that about you. And I was like, when y'all went on y'all state trip, you weren't saying how I look different without makeup, how I look bad, I look like a jump scare, blah, blah, blah. She was like, I mean, like, I said that you look different, but, like, I didn't mean it in, like, a bad way. Like, I wasn't trying to say that, like, you looked ugly or anything. And that's when I was like, okay, so you were talking shit then. So then I'm like, okay, so you weren't talking shit, da 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 da. And she's like, no, I wasn't. And I'm like, and then she was like, oh, but did blank tell you what she said about you, like her old best friend? And I was like, no, what'd she say? She was like, she was the one that was really saying all those things about you. Like, I was just saying that you look different, but she was the one being disrespectful and like talking bad on you, XYZ, da 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 da. And at that point, I'm just mad because I'm like, I don't understand why I'm being talked about when I'm not there. Like, what are y'all getting out of talking about me when I'm not present? Like, bro, just shut up. And then I told her, I said, well, regardless if you feel like you were talking bad about me or not, like, I feel like my name shouldn't be brought up in a conversation if I'm not there, period. Like, I don't care. Like, that's mad weird. Y'all have no reason to be talking about me. And she's like, yeah, like, I understand, like, and I'm sorry about that. And I was like, don't bring my name up if I'm not around. Like, don't talk about me, period. Like, y'all are getting weird. Like, what do you get out of talking about me? For what? I was like, all right, at the end of the day, keep my name out your mouth. Don't talk about me when I'm not there. And she was like, yeah, I'm sorry. I said, okay, whatever. And then I walked away. So after I walk away, I head downstairs and I honestly, I felt like she was lying. Like, I think she was talking about me because it's like, if you're like, well, I'm gonna be honest, like, I said you look different, but I wasn't saying you were like you looked ugly. You're lying to my face. And that's what was pissing me off. It's like, I just kept like looking around like this because I'm like, bro, like, why are you lying? Like, I'm not gonna fucking hit you. Like, if just be straight up. Like, okay, cool. If you were talking shit about me, just know I don't fuck with you and don't ever talk to me again. Simple as that. So I go back downstairs and I'm talking to my friend and I'm like, bro, I think she's lying. And she's like, what did she say? And I was like, she's saying that it wasn't me and that it was really like her old best friend who was saying all this stuff about me, blah, 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 blah. And so I was like, so I'm about to text her best friend. Okay, ignore how crazy I look. I'm setting my face. So basically, I text her best friend or her ex-best friend, and I'm like low-key going off. I'm like, now she's like flipping the story saying that you were really the one saying those things about me. Like, I feel like this is honestly just ridiculous. Like, I feel like my name should have never been brought up. Like, honestly, like, just don't talk about me, and like, that's that. Like, y'all don't need to be talking about me. I won't be talking about y'all. And it's like, the thing is, I have never talked about them. So that's why I'm like, why do y'all feel like y'all have to talk about me? What, because I look different without makeup on? I mean, duh, damn near every girl that wears makeup looks different without it on, because that's the fucking point. So then when I text her ex-best friend, I'm like, so what's really the truth? Da, 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 da. And she's like, and when she's like, okay, so I'm gonna be honest, that's when I'm like, all right, so everybody was talking shit then. Like, at that point, I'm not about to keep arguing with y'all. Like, she was like, I did say that you look different, but I didn't mean it in a disrespectful way. And she was like, and this was like before we were even friends, like it was over the summer. But like, I was like, but still, like, I don't understand why y'all keep bringing up my name. Like, I'm not that big of a topic for y'all to just keep talking about me. Like, bro, like, it's not that hard to just mind your business. Like, y'all don't gotta talk about me. When she was like, oh, like, I'm not gonna lie, I was like, all right, here we go. And then, so I was just telling her, like, basically, like, stop talking about me, like, don't mention my name if I'm not there, but XYZ. And then she was like, yeah, like, I'm sorry, like, the only reason that this, like, even really came up is because she was ranting to my friend about, like, the situation as to why they stopped being friends. And she ended up telling my friend, like, oh yeah, like, this is what happened. She was talking about Isa too, blah, 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 blah. And then my friend ran and tell me, but she was like, I didn't want to, like, start anything. Like, it just kind of came out when I was talking to your friend, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, all right, whatever, like, just don't talk about me. And she was like, so I hope we're good. But I just didn't text her back because I don't understand, like, what's the point of talking about me behind my back, talking about I look different without makeup, saying I look ugly without makeup. Whatever the case was, my name didn't need to be brought up in y'all's conversation. Like, I don't want to hear nothing from her, like, at all, because you're weird. Like, I'm not cool with you. So that's basically the long-awaited update. Not much happened. I just ended up telling her, like, don't talk about me, blah, 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 and all that stuff. Damn, there's, like, makeup and dust flying in there. So now the rest of the school year is going to be awkward because I have double block with her on B days, and then I have first period with her on A days. So let's just hope that nothing else comes out of this situation, because I honestly don't have the time nor the patience to be beefing with people. Like, bro, we're about to graduate and I'm never going to see you hoes again. So, like, just don't talk about me and I won't talk about you. Like, I feel like that's, like, a very simple and easy request. Like, I don't understand the problem. But yeah, guys, so that was basically the update.